Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Geek as I Go. This week we're going to be covering Anthology comics. That's going to be the gateway we're covering this week. And of course the new releases and lots of news this week actually, so that's going to be pretty awesome. But let's start out with gateway comics. So this week I've decided to do anthologies. Basically, if you know someone who likes short stories, who's only basically sort of got the attention span to be able to cope with short stories, anthologies would be best to get them started, because you don't have the long-winded, like, 15-issue story arcs that go on. It's basically just short, compacted stories all grouped together. So, the first anthology I'm doing this week of short stories, Womanthology. This is basically short single-issue comics written by women and about women and strong female characters and awesome female writers. Every single story in this book is absolutely golden. Cannot say a bad word about any of the stories in this book. My particular favourite is about Lady Power Punch, who's sort of a plus-size super heroine who has body image issues and is struggling to sort of find her place in the superhero world full of beautiful, buxom, blonde, gorgeous superheroes. So, yeah, Anthology. That is the first comic, anthology that I'd recommend for anyone who's into short stories and will want to get them into comics. The second one that I'm going to cover today, it's called In the Dark. This is a horror anthology, so lots of short, sort of self-contained horror stories in here. These are both, actually it's interesting, Womanthology and In the Dark are both ones that I got from Kickstarter. And they are absolutely fantastic, but you know, they'd obviously be available in comic book stores now if you want to order them through one of your retailers. So Womanthology is sort of a lighter anthology, a lighter read. This is kind of the dark, scary stuff. In the Dark. So Womanthology and In the Dark are the two I would recommend for anybody who's into short stories and want to try and get them into comics. So that's the gateway comics this week. The new release, my pick of the week this week, Southern Bastards, Jason Aaron. It is about basically this guy who's gone back to his hometown after having left many years, and it's kind of this closed, minded sort of hick town that he has to go back to after his father has died. This issue in particular has caught my attention this week. I thought it was very good. It's about this guy who wants to be a football player and keeps trying out for the football team every single day. Every single day he goes out there, gets his ass kicked on the field, gets his ass then kicked off the field because he's so absolutely crap at it, and every single day comes back to do it again and again and again to impress his father. And at the end of the story he gets onto the football team, but then something happens. I won't say what because it'll be a little bit spoiler otherwise, but Southern Bastards. I recommend Southern Bastards. Very good comic. The other new release I have this week is one that I wanted to be more impressed with than I was. Bitch Planet. It's only issue 1. Maybe I'm being a little bit too harsh, but I don't think I am. Maybe I am. It's only issue 1, Michelle. Calm down, calm down. Kelly's read a comic, and every time I pick up a comic of hers, it's the same syndrome as what I refer to now as the Neil Gaiman syndrome, where everybody hypes so much that you've got these ridiculously high expectations. And because of these ridiculously high expectations that have been built up in your mind because everybody's been hyping about it so much, what you get can't possibly meet this expectation that's been built up. That's what I find with Neil Gaiman's work, is that the hype is often greater than the work, so I kind of walk away from his stuff feeling disappointed. It's the same for me with Kelly Sue the comic. Potentially it could be a really good comic. I don't know. Just I'm trying to give it time though. It's only issue 1. I've tried so hard to get on board with all of her comics. I really have. I've given all of her comics a fair go. I gave Captain Marvel about 10 issues before I gave up. It's been pretty deadly. I gave that about 5 or 6 issues before I gave up. And this is like my 3rd time around with one of her comics, so I just so desperately want to enjoy it. And maybe in a couple of issues it'll sort of pick up and it'll all come into place. God, I hope so, because I really want to like her. I really like her stuff, I do. Everybody else seems to. I feel like I'm missing out on something when I say I don't like her stuff. What do I know? So anyway, Bitch Planet, a little bit disappointed. So, that is the comics this week. If any of these comics have interested you and you would like to be able to purchase them, if you live in the Melbourne area, I highly recommend you go to All Star Comics in Lonsdale Street. And if you live in the Sydney area, I highly recommend you go to Phantom Zone in Hall Place in Parramatta. Both of those stores will take excellent care of you. So we have good news and bad news this week. Good news, Mark Hamill's going to be guest starring in The Flash in 2015 as Trickster. He played the role initially in the 1990s and now he's reprising the role. I always look forward to seeing Mark Hamill working, whether it's like sort of on the screen or whether it's voice acting. I think he's great. I'm looking forward to seeing that. That's going to be awesome. The bad news this week, Batwoman. So initially with Batwoman, J.H. Williams was writing it and doing cover art for it. He walked away due to creative differences when Batwoman was on the verge of getting married to her life partner, and DC basically pulled the plug on this. This would be building up to this whole huge storyline which had been initially approved, and then DC's just like yanked the right out from it. So he ended up leaving that comic, and it's just gone downhill ever since. So not only have we got the non-marriage, we've now got Batwoman being drugged and raped while she was under the influence of hallucinogenic drugs, and the creator basically denying that it was rape at all. And I can't even begin to tell you how much that upsets me, that they're doing this to this iconic... They're doing this at all. Forget the fact that she's an iconic female character for DC, the fact that they're doing it at all upsets me. That's just, I thought, we'd all moved past that whole trope of rape as a subplot to move a storyline along. I thought that we'd all grown up a little bit. I thought that we were all okay now, that we were past that we dealt with that, and it's like we're circling back around to this place of women not being treated right. I don't even know what to say about that. It's just awful. It upsets me because I love the character and I love my comics, and just seeing them treated that way is not right. And DC just seems to piss people off, and it's just like being punched in the face over and over again. It's like being in an abusive relationship with DC Comics. That's what I mean. I am in an abusive relationship with DC Comics, where they just get hitting me and punching me in the face, and I just keep coming back for more and hoping that, and believing them when they say that, oh, it's not going to happen again. I just believe them. I just believe them when they say that. Yeah, okay. So let's move on to the next bit of news. DC Convergence. There's a 40-part mini-series in April and May of 2015. This is another thing that DC is doing. So basically the idea is it's going to be like a pre-New 52 stuff. Like Gail Simone's going to be writing Nightwing Oracle, and Greg Rucka's going to be writing a Question. There's a couple of examples of what's going to be happening. So in the end it's basically going to be either, hey guys, look at how awesome it used to be before we fucked it up, or it's going to be, hey guys, look how awesome it could have been if we hadn't stopped it from being so awesome. Either way, like someone's actually done the maths on this, and if you want to collect the whole mini-series, if you want to get on board with that, you're looking at about $350, $360 altogether. And the way I feel about DC right now, I don't even want to be spending that kind of money on their comics if that's the way we're going to treat their female fans and their female characters. I just don't get why I keep doing it. I don't understand. I want to be excited about the DC Convergence thing. I want to be as excited about that as I was about the New 52. God, I remember how excited I was about the New 52. Oh, how that changed. Yeah. So that is happening. You can be excited about it, or not excited about it, or kind of neutral about it, which is the way I feel right now. I'm just too pissed off about the Batman thing to even consider spending that kind of money with a comic book company that just doesn't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. They keep showing that over and over again, and we just keep going back. Yeah. Okay, so after that cheery bit of news, that's pretty much it for me this week. Hopefully next week you're going to get more like sunshine and rainbows and puppies and good things happening. Thank you very much again for watching, and see you all next week. Bye.
Please do subscribe.